Hi everyone. Welcome to Edureka's webinar where I, Abresh Sugandhi, am going to help you out with understanding what is Selenium as a tool and how does the concept of architectural process works behind Selenium. So before I proceed towards the concept and the understanding of what is Selenium architecture, let me give you a quick brief introduction about myself. My name is Abresh Sugandhi and I have been working into the IT industry from past 10 plus years. I'm specialized into online training and I'm a corporate trainer. I've been working into the corporate world from almost 10 years and I'm delivering a lot of training. When it comes to my experience, I have trained around 10,000 plus professionals. Yeah, that's a little idea about my profile. So let's get started with the session. What is manual testing? Manual testing is nothing but just filling up a form or doing the things manually in front of the system and performing all the tasks by yourself and making a record of everything. In a very simple layman term, I would say manual testing is a process where a human sit in front of the system constantly performing tasks to make sure that the application is bug free. If you see, this is me. Okay, this is me when I am doing manual testing. If somebody asks me to do manual testing, it's me. This is my own image. I would be relating it to it. So I'm loading all the transactions, I'm filling up. Somebody said that you have to do manual transactions over here and give me a report. So the problem is I would be tired. I would be not so happy because I will have to load all the transactions. We basically have to fill up the form manually, type in here, there, do this, that, all the form filling, and then submit the form. Then once the submit is done, I will take a screenshot. Then I'll go back to the Excel file, fill up the details that, okay, this is the result, this is the outcome, this is the screenshot. All sort of haphazard process makes it more tough for me. If I don't do it right, it will be haphazard. And if I do it right, but if I have to do everything manually, it would be painful for me, right? Isn't it too tedious, right? Tiring. Every day I'm doing the same thing. It will be boring for me. This is why manual testing is a time consuming, error prone, mistakes possibility, and not a good option. That's why automation testing is a better process where all these boring, time consuming, tedious, and mistake and errors will be resolved, and I will be sitting like this, relaxing. Why? Because I know automation, and this is how I sit. When I execute my task, I sit like this, I make the execution go, and I get the results. I don't have to sit in front of the system whole time. I can go and have a cup of coffee, roam around, and get my task done. That's the beauty of automation testing. What are the benefits? Obviously, if I'm getting the work done by the system, it is much faster, more accuracy is there, less investment in human resource because you don't need too many people to do the task. It supports regression testing, retesting, regression testing. What is regression testing? Regression testing is basically a kind of testing which is done when you already reported a bug and the development has reworked onto it and resolved the bug, and then it comes back to you, wherein the product that comes back to you is a modified version, partial modification with partial old code. When you test the new and the old together, that's basically regression testing. If you want to do the task repetitively, obviously frequent executions are much better with automation, because if you ask somebody to do the manual transactions again and again, it would be tiring. Supports lights out execution. Basically, whatever things you can miss out by a manual tester, you will not do that with automation. Automation can highlight those things which are missed out by the manual testers, because it's a human perception or human process of doing things. Are whereas when you do it with a system is very systematic, or I would say it is more accurate, so it takes minute things into the consideration. and which leads to some kind of missed out bugs, some kind of missed out features can also be tracked very easily. That's why automation is in great demand. What is Selenium? Selenium is a suite of software tools to automate web browser. It is open source and mainly used for functional and regression testing. What is open source? What do you mean by open source? Open source has a very different perspective. Let me explain you a bit about that. When we say a product is an open source, so as per your understanding, most of you might be having the same understanding that it is for free. If Selenium is an open source, why not we call it as Chrome as an open source? Why don't we call these browsers also as an open source? We don't call that. Why? They're also free. Why do we call them as freeware or no costing, nothing? We don't have to pay it. Then why there is a problem? Why there is a difference? Because the difference is open source products are those products whose internal material, like the source code, the internal documentation, how it has been designed, each and every minute things are made available to the public. That's why they are called as open source. When it comes to these browsers that we use, they have not disclosed any of their information outside. So if you want to understand how is the Chrome browser functioning inside it, you will not be able to find that information. Or even if you find some information, that will be not from the Chrome team. So it's not available for reading or access to everybody. That's the difference between a free tool and an open source tool. A major difference is an open source tool works with community support. Means what? Everybody around the globe can actually contribute into the improvisation of the team and improvisation of the product as a whole, and you do not rely on the limited number of people to improvise the product. You have the globe, people around the community can contribute into it, make it a better product, or they can reuse the code to build up their own product as well. And Selenium is such tool on which multiple brands have built up their own tool and they're selling it for a cost. But still, even though they are built up on Selenium, they are not as important or as popular as Selenium is. This is the difference between an open source and a free tool. Selenium is one of the most preferred product in the market when it comes to web automation testing, and Selenium is the only open source product that can give you the best experience to automate any type of high level features or tough features or any browser based features. You can automate with Selenium, and that's the beauty of Selenium. It supports multiple programming language. So if you are a person who is interested in Python, or if you are a person who is specialized into C# and you have spent a life learning Selenium, learning C#, and now if I ask you to take a particular product and your company says that, okay, go ahead and learn this product, and I want you to use that, and you end up into a situation where the product is supported by a particular programming language and you don't know that programming language, then again you will have to spend your time in learning the programming language and then the product. But Selenium does not constrain that way. Selenium says that if you are an expert of Python, you use Python with Selenium. If you are an expert of Java, you use Java with Selenium. So whichever programming language you are an expert of, you should use that same programming language to program your code with Selenium. This is the beauty of Selenium. It supports every programming language: Java, Python, C#, Perl, PHP, Ruby, JavaScript, and many more. I might be a Mac user. I am basically a lover of Windows, so I'm not a Mac user. But what if you are a person who loves Mac? I have my friend, he's Linux crazy. You give him Windows, he will feel like not using it at all. Now you can't ask them to leave their comfort. Why do you want to leave it? Because Selenium supports all programming languages, plus it also supports all the operating systems that are available in the market, be it a Linux or Linux based products or Windows, Mac, whatever operating system you are comfortable with, you will definitely be able to use it. I'm not very comfortable with Mac. I feel uncomfortable using it. I don't know the feature functionality. I'm more of a Windows guy. So I will love to have my comfort zone for my performance. So obviously, if I'm doing that with Selenium, it helps me. Then why not take Selenium? Because it's one of the best products also, and on top of it, it supports all the programming languages, all the operating system. Along with that, I can even handle which browser I want to use. So it has multiple browser support as well. I am a Windows user. I'm more comfortable with Chrome. I'm not very comfortable with Firefox, or I'm not very comfortable with Edge browser and other browsers. If you ask me to do, I can use it, but I'm not very comfortable with it. I don't like using Internet Explorer. Selenium says that why do you want to force yourself? Use the browser that you need to test. And you can actually run multiple browsers for multiple test requirements as well. So I'm comfortable with Chrome. I will create my test cases and I will test them on Chrome. But at the end of the day, if I am expecting the product to be compatible with all the browsers, I can test them with different browsers also, because I don't know my user base is going to use which browser. So I have to make sure that they all get the best experience. So Selenium supports different browsers, almost all the popular browser you talk about: Chrome, Firefox, Edge, Opera, Safari, Internet Explorer. All seven of these 7 to 8 browsers are supported, and these all browsers are the main market. So you assure the quality that you give after testing will be the best for every type of customer base that is there for that product. This is why Selenium is very popular. And it's been 10 years, I'm seeing, at least for me, I'm working into this almost 11 years, to be very precise. It would be 11 years journey, and I have never seen the market going very bad for Selenium. Even the recession time, it was good. It was not very good, I would say, but it was good, going good. Everybody was stable in their jobs. They were in demand equally. They were working. Few people lost their jobs, but the recession didn't impact Selenium to that level. Why? Because it's not a cost. You're not buying an employee, and then on top of it, you don't have to pay for a high end products. This is the beauty of Selenium. The advantages and disadvantages of Selenium are, there are only few disadvantages that I would like to address, because obviously it cannot be a positive only. It has to be having some negativities, right? So negative aspects is also there with every product, and it is there with Selenium as well. When it comes to disadvantages, it supports only web application. So if you are planning to automate a desktop based application, you cannot do that. But yes, if you are planning to go with mobile based applications, you can still take the help of Selenium, because Selenium does work on mobile application testing, but not directly through APM2. Only user communication available. Yes, so here one more lacking point I would add is community-based support availability. There's no premium service, so you cannot call somebody on a particular number and get your queries resolved. You have to rely on the community, but trust me, that's much faster than calling a customer care, because I myself has experienced it twice, and I have was able to get out of that problem within few minutes. So it's much faster than calling somebody on the even if you call a brand like Dell and Lenovo, you have to spend almost half an hour to get the problem understood, leave away the solution. But these things are not there with Selenium, because it works with community and everybody. Now think about such a huge community, that it's one of the biggest community in the world, and on top of that you have a support from the people around the globe. So somebody will be there even if you ping it at 10 o'clock in the night, or my experience was at 3 o'clock, I raised a ticket, I raised a query, and I got support response within few seconds. I thought I'll not get any kind of resolution right now, I'll sleep. But before I could sleep, I got all the emails reaching out and I got the solution as well. That's the beauty of community support. Difficult to set up and use. Yes, if you don't know the tricks, it is difficult, but it's just about the learning the tricks. If you learn the tricks, it's not difficult. No reporting facility. Yes, this is a very big disadvantage of Selenium, that it does not give you any kind of ready-made reports. But there are tools which are predefined, or it is very pre-understood that if you're learning Selenium, then you know TestNG. And if you know TestNG, then you have a solution with this. So no reporting facility can be upgraded to TestNG. And if you are using TestNG, then you do not have to worry about the reports, because TestNG gives you the report. Limited supports of image based testing. Yes, this is where I would never defend Selenium on this, because Selenium cannot help you in image evaluation or image recognition, or it does not have image testing based functionality. So if you want to do that, you have to rely on the third party tools, but yes, there are solutions to it, definitely. Advantages, we have already discussed almost every advantages, like it supports multiple programming language, operating system, browsers, it's an open source. On top of it, it does work parallelly, which means I can run multiple test cases at the same time, and this will save my time. So if you see the previous slide, we have seen that it is talking about the multiple browsers, right? We were talking about this multiple browser part. Now, what if I run one time, I right click and run it, and that will run on all these browsers at the same time? That's called parallel testing. So at the same time, what I was supposed to take is 6 times of efforts. So if I take it 10 minutes for each browser, so 60 minutes I should take for the whole, right? Or 50, I would say 50 over here, 5 browsers are there. So 50 minutes, what I will take for an execution, with parallel execution, I can do it in 10 to 15 minutes. So that's the beauty of speed that you will get with parallel execution, right? So this is another bigger advantage of Selenium. It provides supports for frameworks like TestNG, JUnit, NUnit, and many such frameworks are supported. So don't worry on that part. Whatever is your requirement, you will get solution to this. Now, is Selenium a product? Is it a single tool or it's a multiple tool? Selenium is not just one tool, but it is a suite of tools. Means what? It comes with a package of multiple tools. So Selenium comes with 3 of the major products in the market: IDE, which is called as Integrated Development Environment. Then you have the second is WebDriver, which is basically the coding tool with which you can automate any kind of feature. You have a Grid, which is basically known as Grid only. That's the exact name. There's no full form to it. But Grid is for a network-based process wherein you can connect multiple machines and test them. And there was one more product called as RC, which is basically obsolete and no more existing in the market. So we don't use this product. When it comes to IDE, I'll give you a little short brief of them. IDE is a recorder. Record your test. You just have to record your test cases and play them. Okay, so it's a record and play product. You just have to record the test, the transactions. Basically what you do is you do some steps on the browser and that gets recorded, and then you can just play them for your convenience. As per your requirements, you can play them. This is the beauty of IDE, but it is not there in the market as a premium product or commercial product. We don't use IDE in commercial level. WebDriver is used in commercial. WebDriver is a scripting tool which can help you to automate almost everything on a browser. So whatever you see in the browser, you can automate with WebDriver. If the feature exists and if a user can use it, then a WebDriver can also help you to automate that. That's the beauty of WebDriver. Grid is basically a tool which helps WebDriver to run the test on different machines, and that's the beauty of Grid, which also allows you to do multiple platform testing, environment testing. One machine with one combination may work successfully, but the other machine with different combination may not work. So your testing can be regressive. You can do very regressive testing. You can do testing on a product on various environment, whether it works on this machine with this combination, that machine with that combination. All sort of activities you can do with Selenium. That's the beauty of Selenium. So these are the list of tools that you have in Selenium. Same thing is explained to you over here. Selenium ID was introduced, Selenium RC was introduced. First RC came into the picture, then ID was introduced, and then later they said we need a better product, so they came up with WebDriver, which was then merged with RC and WebDriver together, and now it is only one product. Grid was also introduced before WebDriver. So first Selenium RC, then IDE and Grid, and then Selenium WebDriver was introduced. A very important part, how do we take the journey of your learning? What is the topics that we are going to see? How are we covering those topics? Let's look into this. So first we start with the basics of Java refresher, where we just help you out refreshing your knowledge if you have any, and if you're not, we give you a free resource which will help you to learn Java, and then you can probably take the step number 2, which is basically understanding the core basic concepts of Selenium. What is Selenium? What is WebDriver? All those stuff. Then we go to the level 3, which talks about Selenium WebDriver and locator techniques. Then we go to the level 4, which is basically element handling and other wait commands. During these modules also, we have given you a lot of hands-on examples. So not only in the class, but you will also have some material for practicing, self-practicing as well. Then again, module 5, we talk about TestNG. So we have already included that. Then 6, we'll talk about grid and robot classes and multiple other features. Then 7, we'll talk about IDE and page object model. Then you will proceed further to automation framework. So you will going with more number of understanding what exactly we use, how do we actually work in the real time, and we take the things further with automation framework, more details. And the last module, we thought of why not incorporating a particular topic which is very much in demand in the market. So we went on with BDD framework and Cucumber. So this is the overall picture of things. Now let's come back to the architectural process of Selenium suite. How does Selenium actually works in the backend? So Selenium works with client libraries. So there are some set of jar files or some set of files are there which you need to configure to your Eclipse. Once you do that, Selenium gets accessible to you, with the help of which you prepare your code. What you want to automate, you have to prepare a script for it. Once your script is created, that script is getting triggered from here to your machine. So this is the place where you write your code. Once you write your code, you trigger the code to your browser driver, and this will help you to communicate within the browsers and get the feedback from the browser. And this way, when you communicate, it makes you a clear picturization of what you are actually doing. So just to give you an idea of this, it's a very simple process of automation wherein you have your script. This script triggers the automation. Is the plan is to trigger the automation on the real browser, right? But because you do not have the access to the internal architecture of the browsers, you trigger it via a mediator called as driver. Now this driver is responsible to pass the commands or basically instructions to the browser, and the browser will perform the instruction Based on the outcome, it will come back and inform the outcome. The responsibility of driver is to communicate back to the system so that user, means like people like us, can see what happened with the execution. We get a conclusion of the result. This is the overall architectural process where you take the help of programming language plus Selenium based on the language that you prefer, the combination of Selenium with that programming language, you add those jar files or those particular relevant files to the project, and you create a script based on that. This script gets executed on the driver. With the help of driver, you can execute on the browser and you get the result outcome, and then you get to know what happened. Correct? This is the process that internally works. The communication between these two machines happens with a JSON wire protocol. This is a technique which helps you to securely transmit this data between your machine or your Eclipse and the driver, so that the driver gets the right information without making it available to the world. Right? So this is a secured way of transaction. Browser drivers are always same for their browsers. So for each browser, you need a different driver. For Chrome, you have Chrome driver. For Firefox, you have Gecko driver. For Edge, you have MS Edge. So certain set of drivers are there which are designed by these browser developers, and this information reaches out to the browser and you get the response out. This is how the architectural process actually works on the backend. Getting the point? Now, let me give you a little idea about a very simple sample I'll tell you, which will help you understand what exactly is automation, how smoothly automation can work. Let me just start the Eclipse. This is how you write your code, and the script are written with testng. This is an example of testng and Selenium combination. Here I am going to log into GitHub account and I will log out. It's just a short process that I'm going to explain you right now. And the trigger process happens through an XML file. So that XML file is available over here. And with this XML file, I can any point of time trigger the process and I can get the return result outcome. So let me update this, and quickly I will trigger the execution of this particular class. So here it is. And especially when it comes to my classes, I can give you a surety that most of the time, 99% of the time, we write the code in the live class. We don't keep anything ready. This is just a webinar, so probably the time will not allow us to write the code completely, but we generally write the code and get the things done. So learning Selenium with testng, that's my suite name, and learning execution. I'm just putting up some info over here. Right click, run as testng suite, and you just have to relax and see the execution. I am leaving my machine and automation is taking care of these activities. This is done. It's done. Fraction of seconds. It can be much faster than this. I have actually made it slow. And if I just remove some piece of code, it will be too fast as well. So within a fraction of seconds, the execution got completed and I can run them n number of times I want. This is the beauty of automation. I can show you something else also. Let's try to run this. Okay, so let me run this, and now you will be able to see that all the browsers will open up at the same time. So you have one, you have two, and one in the background. So you can see three browsers are simultaneously running at the same time and logging into the GitHub account. And this is what you can do with automation. Isn't it cool? Cool, right? So many things happening without me doing it. And within a fraction of minutes, fraction of seconds, I should say, because it hardly took any time to execute, and you get the result. All 18 test cases passed, and you can see the result like this. So many things that you can do with Selenium. I will show you the report also, just in case you'll have a little better understanding. And learning, okay, so I need to refresh this. Here it is. You have your reports ready, right? So you can get the reports, you can get your results, and you can use them to understand what exactly happened onto it. So all these things are ready, available with TestNG and Selenium. So this is what it got executed in this process. That's all. This is what I have for today. We're done for the day. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much.